What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys another amazing top 5 Pokemon for each type video. Today, we are going to be taking a look at Rock type. Rock types were the type that were the most popular in the last video. I'm pretty sure the last video was the fighting video. That was the most popular vote in the comments below. You know, I've been saying every single time comments with like, you know, I want to see Rock types. I say that's a pretty solid pick. And so yeah, Rock types finally getting their time to shine. Guys, remember, if you guys want to see a specific type in the next video, go to the comments, leave a like first, subscribe if you haven't yet, and say what type you want to see in the next video. Like, we still haven't done Ghost, Psychic, Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Ground, Flying. There's so many good types. I haven't done Dark yet either. Guys, let me know what you want to see next in the comments below, and I will be sure to work on it, and it'll be out in a couple days. Hopefully you guys bear with me. So yeah, top 5 rock types. There's actually not as many rock type Pokemon as you would think in the game. You know, right now we're in the Pewter Gym. That's the very first gym. You know, Mount Moon, kind of known for like Geodude's rock types. There's also Rock Tunnel, known for like, you know, rock Pokemon. And then there's like Victory Road, even more rock Pokemon in there. There's even some like rock Pokemon in some other parts of the game. So you would think rock types are really abundant, but in reality, it's the fact that most people assume rock and ground types are the same type or very similar, and so a lot of people have, like, a lot of people kind of group them together, but in actuality they're completely different. And in reality, like, seriously, the ground and rock type lists are going to be completely different. So I'm going to be showing you guys my top 5 rock lists as we get right on into it. We're going to go right in my bag like I always do here. Going to go into my Pokemon box. And currently we have all the different rock types in the game. There's Aerodactyl, Alolan Golem, Omastar, Kabutops, Rhydon, Onyx, and regular Golem. That's it. That's all the rock types. If you're thinking of other Pokemon that are similar to rock, they're ground. So those would be in a different video. So anyways, yeah, there's not that many rock types. In reality, there's only 3 rock grounds. There's Rhydon. I keep wanting to call it Glinks. That's its nickname. We got Rhydon, Onyx, and Golem, and that's it. And so one of these Pokemon isn't going to make the cut. I wonder if you guys can guess what it is. So without further ado, we're actually going to be starting off the list with... it's actually going to be Golem. Regular Golem is going to be number 5 on the list. Marowak, peace out. Maybe in the ghost list. So anyways, yeah. Here we go. Golem is going to be the 5th best rock type in the game. The 5th best. And I know this is breaking a lot of your hearts. I know a lot of you guys love Golem. But if you look at the rest of the Pokemon that are actually available, I think it really kind of stands out that, yeah, I guess regular Golem is the 5th best. You know, I don't think it really can keep up with some of the fossils. Rhydon's a lot bulkier. And, you know, compared to, like, Onyx and, you know, even Alolan Golem, it just doesn't really bring as much to the table. It's a little bit too safe. So we're going to talk about my moveset, my nature choices for Golem right now as we go right on into it. Check the summary. You can see the nature that I have on this Golem is Brave. Now, guys, if you don't know Brave, it's going to raise your attack. It's going to lower your speed. You don't really need Brave. I really would recommend something like Adamant. But you can also go Impish and Careful. So, like, Adamant, Impish, Careful, Brave, those are all great natures. You know, Brave, historically, like I said, lowers speed, and that would be great if Trick Room was an option, but there's no Trick Room in this game, so you don't really need Brave, but, you know, Brave's definitely not a terrible nature on this guy by any means. We're going to look at the moveset I recommend for this guy. I really recommend putting Stealth Rocks. This is going to be the numero uno rock move of choice. Best rock move in the game. This is the reason why these Pokemon aren't even terrible. And Stealth Rocks lays a trap of levitating stones around the opposing team. The trap hurts opposing Pokemon that switch into battle. And for those guys who don't know, Stealth Rock is a hazard move. So every single time someone switches in when Stealth Rock's active, it lasts forever. You can't get rid of it. They're going to take damage, and the damage is going to be rock type damage. So if they're weak to rock, like let's say they switch in a bug or a flying type Pokemon, they're going to take 25%. If they switch in something like a Charizard that is 4 times weak to rock because it's a fire and a flying type, they're going to take 50% of their health. So Stealth Rocks are a major factor in the singles metagame, in the Let's Go metagame, and they're absolutely huge. And like I said, there's no rapid spinners, there's no default users to get rid of this move. The only way to stop a Stealth Rock user is to KO it before it goes up, or to taunt it to stop the Stealth Rock. So Stealth Rocks is absolutely amazing, and most rock Pokemon, I say most, should be using this move. It's also a TM, a lot of Pokemon learn it, but, you know, rock types are generally, you know, the ones that most people like to lead with to get this mon off. Other things that Groudon actually brings to the table is it's stabbing a Earthquake, it's going to be stabbing Rockslide. So remember, Rockslide, 75 base power, 90 accuracy. It can flinch things. Has a 30% chance to flinch. Huge flinch potential on Rockslide. Like, I absolutely love this move. And remember, in like doubles, Rockslide hits both your opponents. In doubles, Earthquake hits everyone. And Earthquake's going to be a 100 base power. One of the strengths Groudon has is it actually stabs both of these moves. So pretty decent coverage. You know, you can hit anything that's grounded with Earthquake, and you can hit anything that's flying with Rockslide. That's pretty good. The only thing really bringing Golem back, note the last move I went with Superpower. We're going to talk about a bunch of other TM choices. Golem gets to the end. The main reason why I chose Superpower was so he could, you know, fight Pokemon like Snorlaxes when they switch in. Also, like, this can really pick off, like, Alolan Persians. This can really take them by surprise and get those big one-shots. And this is one of the few scenarios in which, like, you can get the one-shots. Remember, Superpower is going to be a base 120 move. So instead of putting, like, you know, an Elemental Punch on this guy for, like, no reason, because, like, even if I were to, say, put on, like, Fire Punch or something, it's really not that great. Like, a Fire Punch, super effective, even like a Grass type, is only just a little bit stronger than a Rock Slide. I'd rather go for something that has the one-hit KO potential on something that is not expecting that type of damage. So, yeah, Golem, the main reason why it's so bad is because it has 4 times weaknesses to grass, 4 times weaknesses to water. It's still weak against ground, it's weak against steel, it's weak against fighting. It just has a mass of weakness to so many types, and the thing that separates Golem from, like, a bunch of other Pokemon is it's just not that fast. I'm just going to take the time to look this up. I just want to make sure. I think Golem's base speed is 55. Don't give me, don't count me out yet. Come on. Let me use my brain. It's either 55 or 45. Show me what you're working with. 45, yeah. So Golem is not that fast. Golem is not that fast at all. Just want to make sure I'm not getting my base speed stats on the other ones mixed up. Perfect. Yeah, so Golem, it's not that fast. It's like a base 120 attack, and it's also not like that bulky on the specialty side. I personally think this Pokemon is like really good if you're going to be rolling like physical attacks. Oh, it's totally great. But unfortunately, just I think doesn't have the speed that it needs to succeed in the like upper echelons of play. Like literally every single water Pokemon outspeeds this thing, and also, it is somewhat limited by its move pool. Like, sure, it gets Superpower. We're going to look at its TMs later. But there's a couple other Pokemon on the list that do things a little bit differently. So that's Golem. Golem is number 5, staying alive. Guys, what do you guys think the 4th best rock type is in the game? In my opinion. 4th best rock type. If you had to guess, what do you think it would be? You know, there's a couple choices. You know, maybe it's Rhydon. Rhydon's really similar. You know, maybe it's the other Golem form. Maybe it's Onyx. Who knows? Onyx has a really high base defense. It's actually going to be the other Golem form. It's actually going to be the other Golem form. And the reason why we're ranking Alolan Golem ahead of regular Golem is because if you look at Alolan Golem here, Alolan Golem does stuff a little bit differently from regular Golem. Note that it is a rock electric, so it loses its ground typing, and it gains electric typing. So what does that really do for it? First of all, it's not nullified by electric attacks anymore, but it totally resists them, which might as well be the same. But in doing so, it loses its 4 times weakness to grass. It loses its 4 times weakness to water. You know, it's still weak to steel, fighting, and ground. But, you know, it doesn't have those 4 times weaknesses to things. And also, actually, it's not even, it's not weak to steel anymore. It's neutral because electric resistance. So that's awesome. Like, Alolan Golem is just a tiny bit better. And, you know, exactly, I have the same brave nature on this thing, but again, adamant, impish, careful, all wonderful natures. I also want to talk a little bit about potentially going jolly nature on these things, just to outspeed things like, you know, not speed nature Alolan Mux. Maybe that's something you guys are into. You know, let's check. Well, you know what? Let's go back. I'm going to check these again. You know, I should probably just pull up base speeds when I check all these Pokemon, but we're going to do it again. Pokemon DB Muck. And then we're going to make sure that I'm not giving you guys incorrect information, because I think it is actually really important that I tell you guys the slight things. Yeah, Muck has a base 50 speed stat. So, sorry, Alolan Muck has a base 50 speed stat. So, if you're actually to go jolly on either of these Golem forms, you can outspeed their Muck. And that is something that they're not going to expect. They're going to try and Mega Drain you every single time. You know, just because these 2 Golem forms are so low on the list, that does not mean that they're inherently bad Pokemon. I want to get that across. I do not think these Pokemon are bad at all. Teams that have these Pokemon are such a pain to deal with because they get so many unique moves. And they have really, really good defensive, like, physically defensive typing. So, again, these Pokemon are great. And we're going to talk about what makes Alolan Golem just a little bit better than regular Golem, is that it stabs electric attacks. Now, if you look at the moveset, exactly the same for the most part. We have Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Rock Slide. Now, you don't stab the Earthquake anymore. You do not stab it, but I still think you need it to fight things, like I said, like Mucks and, you know, other, like this Pokemon's great against, like, both of the like Nidoking, Nidoqueen, which are really, really rising in popularity right now. Great counter pick to those Pokemon. Also, this Pokemon is great versus like Aerodactyl. Both Golems are. Just Rockslide it, absolutely massive. Also, you can Thunder Punch things. So like those water Pokemon, they can't switch in on you anymore. They can't just switch in on you because you're going to be stabbed in that Thunder Punch. So this Pokemon just brings a little bit more offensively and minimizes its defenses through its typing to just make it just a little bit better. They have the exact same stats, but this one, again, stabs electric type moves. So you got that big Thunder Punch using the physical attack. We're going to look at some moves in the TMs later at the end of the video, and you guys can see if there's any differences between the two. So we have both of the Golems out of the way. Now, what is the third? What is the third? What's that? I got an idea. Let's fuse them. Let's make both of the Golems. You know what? Let's make both of the Golems 5th. But I can power rank them like that. Because like I'm gonna amend my list right now. I think the fourth, that is like a top 6, guys. I think the 4th best Pokemon is actually gonna be Rhydon. Right, so Rhydon, I think it's just a little bit better than the Golems. And you know what? I gave you guys a little extra goal. So, like, if you confuse those, these two together are 5th, right? And then Rhydon is going to be 4th. I just think that it's, like, super good. I think Rhydon's just a cut above. Both the Golems, just barely, because it gets access to a couple other decent moves. Sure, it's a little bit slower than the Golem, but I think it has just better overall stats for tanking most moves. We're going to look at it here. Remember, it's going to be another ground rock Pokemon. I use Adamant. I think Adamant's good. This is the first 6 IV Pokemon I've caught in the game. No, I'm level 48. I'm not bottle capped. This Pokemon is flawless right here. Like I said, I have Adamant. The thing that I personally think sets Rhydon apart is Rhydon gets Mega Horn, as well as a few other really clutch moves. We're going to talk about them as we get towards the end of the video. But this Pokemon gets a bunch of really, really cool moves. It can also have like special attacks, kind of. But the Mega Horn's really big because you can KO Pokemon like Alakazam, Mewtwo's Mews, and things like that really do not expect it. And it varies from the, it can also KO the Dark type. So you can KO the Golem, you can KO like a Alolan Persian with this too. Just like how regular Golem can use Superpower, but Bug's also super effective in Psychic versus Fighting, which is resisted. So this can also hit grass types like Tangela and stuff like that. You can hit Pokemon like let's say if they have like a Starmie, if you were to go Mega Horn, they can't, if they were to switch to like a Venusaur to mitigate some damage from like an Earthquake or like a Rockslide, well, not really a Rockslide, they'd still take neutral damage. So like a lot of Pokemon that would switch in on this to mitigate some damage from the bug attack, or sorry, to mitigate damage from the ground attack would be taking, still neutral damage from Mega Horn. Mega Horn being a 120 move, not super accurate, but if you have faith, it'll happen. Like, if I hit all my Thunders, you guys can hit some Mega Horns. It's a pretty good Pokemon. Again, great Stealth Rocks user, great Pokemon overall. If you're speed-natured, I think you can outspeed those pesky Alolan Mucks, so I definitely recommend this Pokemon. So, then there were 3. There were 3. And there's currently only 4 Rock Pokemon left, so a couple of these Pokemon aren't going to make the cut. And speaking of cuts, the 3rd best Rock-type Pokemon's I think actually going to be Kabutops. And you may be wondering, like, you're crazy. You are absolutely crazy. Why are you putting Kabutops over all of the best Stealth Rocks users? Like, Kabutops doesn't really bring anything to the table. Kabutops brings amazing things to the table, by the way. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this pick, but I think Kabutops is so underrated. So underrated. I wasn't going to... Originally, when I made the list, like, I can show you guys my list somewhere. It's on a piece of paper. I originally made the list, and I originally had Kabutops right here, and then I had Rhydon and Kabutops switched, right? But recently, I've been streaming with Kabutops. I don't know if you've seen the streams on twitch.tv/THATSAplusONE, but holy moly, this Pokemon is absolutely amazing if you use this moveset. So we're gonna look at my Kabutops here. Note that I'm using a Hasty one. I don't think you necessarily need Hasty. I would recommend like Adamant or Jolly. Again, this is a physical attacker. It has a pretty high base speed, and you don't, like I said, you do not need the Hasty. It's just kind of what I have, and my IVs are decent. So even with IVs like this, with like a subpar nature, because like remember, Hasty's gonna lower my defense for like no reason versus something like Jolly, which would be much more preferred. So like Jolly, Adamant, both those are amazing natures on this thing. I sweep so many teams with this because he has a very specific move set that, if played correctly, is amazing. So first of all, note that he's a rock water type. I think it's a really big deal here. So being rock water, he can like deal really big damage against things like Aerodactyl. He can totally set up in their face. But he also threatens a lot of these other Stealth Rocks users because he's a water type. They have to respect his ability to go for like huge waterfalls and deal that really, really big damage. So against like most of the common Stealth Rocks users, this is a very good lead that forces them to switch on turn 1. And when they switch, you pop a Swords Dance. Swords Dance is going to double your offensive stats, double your attack stat, and if you get two Swords Dances off, I promise you, you're going to sweep everyone with Aqua Jet. Now, Aqua Jet is only a 40 base power move, but it is a priority move, so it's a priority 1 speed tiering move, so this is going to go faster than quick attacks. It's not as fast as something like Fake Out, which is a priority 3, which is why it says this move always goes first. It is incorrect, because, like, it should say most of the time, because like I said, it's a priority 2 speed tiering move. It's a priority 1. I think that's priority 3. There's priority 2 speed tier moves, but they're not in the game. Like extreme speed is an example of a priority 2 speed move, but that's a comment for another day. So yeah, we got Swords Dance, right? You want to get at least one of these, but if you can get 2, you're gonna sweep their whole team with Aqua Jet. Rockslide is another really, really strong stab move, and the reason why this set is good is because yeah, for their frail Pokemon, like let's think of stuff that I KO'd today. Alakazams, Persians, stuff that is fast, right? Aerodactyls. You're going to be able to kill those things with Aqua Jet. For the things that are a little bit bulkier, I have to bust out the Rockslide. Remember, you can always go for the flinches. Like, this was really good against Dragonite, against Zapdoses and stuff like that. And then against the things that you're faster than, you bust out the Leech Life. Here we go. 80 base power move. You don't stab it, but you restore half the HP. So against like, a Golem Mux, this deals neutral. Against Slowbros, oh my goodness. Against, what is another one that I just drank today? I just tanked a Psychic from a Starmie and just popped this Leech Life like right back in their face. Just ate it all the way up. Leech Life is so good. Now, unless someone's using a move that is super effective on the special defensive side of Kabutops, they're not going to KO you. Like, if I led today, like I fought this guy today, and he led Aerodactyl, and I led Kabutops. And first turn, he went Stealth Rocks, and I went Swords Dance. And turn 2, he went Earthquake, and it did, like, a decent amount of damage. It's super effective. He doesn't stab it, and I went Swords Dance again. And then I proceeded to Aqua Jet down, like, all of his Pokemon, and eventually he sent out, like, he sent out something slower, and I just drank it. I just absolutely drank that Pokemon, put those sip emotes all the way up with Leech Life, and I just, oh my goodness, it was so good. I just, yeah, so Leech Life, amazing, and it's what actually makes the set really good, because it gives Kabutops that sustainability to, like, stick on the board. Obviously, you can't bring Kabutops out until a lot of their things that would resist the Aqua Jets are gone, so I don't really recommend having Kabutops out. If there's something that can always, like, one-shot you back, like, obviously, you're not going to use Kabutops while they have, like, other really big priority users, like, Partner Pikachu and stuff like that, but, this is a great mid-game Pokemon to come out with when a lot of their defenses are down and you can catch them on a swap, or catch them on, like, a sloppy turn where they can't really do anything against Kabutops. Like, this Pokemon's great against, like, Pokemon like Snorlax, for example. Like, they can't one-shot you back ever, and you're always just gonna be able to Leech Life back at a full. It's such a good Pokemon, and I wish this Pokemon sees a lot more play. But I gotta put it at number 3. So, yeah, it's number 3. So then there were 2. We have Lord Helix, and we have Aerodactyl, and as much as it pains me to put it, Lord Helix is taking the second slot. Lord Helix is going to take second slot. I mean, I also just completely forgot about Onyx. Onyx sucks, guys. It has a base 45 attack. 45 attack! Like, Onyx is weaker. 2 Onyxes are weaker than, like, Dugtrio. I've said that before. Dugtrio, like one of the weakest Pokemon in the game, has the strength of 2 Onyxes. You just think about that. I'm pretty sure Diglett has almost twice the attack as Onyx. It's ridiculous. The Pokemon's so weak. Anyways, we're talking about Omastar, though. We're talking about Lord Helix. We're talking about what makes this Pokemon special. It's another fossil Pokemon, another rock-water type. Now, the thing about Lord Helix is, it doesn't really use its rock type for anything. At all. Other than to just add weaknesses to it. Like, let's just add, like, sure, we're not weak to, or, hold on. My computer is almost turned off. Sure, like, rock, water, we're, like, super weak to grass. We're weak to ground. We're weak to fighting. sure, you know, that's kind of what it is. But you know, modest helix, like I said, like I think you need to be modest with this thing. It really helps with the calc damage on like surf on a couple niche targets. You don't really need timid because it's so slow. You're gonna be wanting to go for 2 shell smashes with this thing, and if you do, you're just gonna sweep everyone. You guys have seen me use this Pokemon a bunch of times before. It's so good. Shell smash, guys. It's gonna break your shell, which is gonna lower your defense and special defense, but it's gonna sharply raise your attack, special attack, and speed stats. So if you get one of these things, you're gonna outspeed most Pokemon. Anything over base, I think like 100. So anything that's like only a little bit fat, only like you're gonna outspeed any base 100 Pokemon if you get a shell smash off. But if you get 2 shell smashes off, you're gonna outspeed anything. You're gonna outspeed Mega Aerodactyls, Mega Zams, Mega Mewtwo Ys, Mega Beedrills, all that stuff. Electrodes, you're just gonna outspeed all of them if you get 2 shell smashes off. So you have to set this thing up. The teams have to like totally be played around letting this Pokemon get multiple shell smashes off. That means using it when your opponents are asleep, using it while your screens are up, you know, really sacrificing a ton of resources to get this thing to carry. But when you do, it's really good. You got Ice Beam, it's not stabbed, can hit those grass types, which again, you're totally walled by. Surf, well, if in 90% of the situations, if you get +4, you're actually going to be able to one-shot anything with Surf. In previous videos, I've shown like a +4 Surf one-shots Mega Mewtwo. It will also one-shot a Starmie, believe it or not. We decided to Hydro Pump it and we missed, but I went back and checked the calc. Surf would have one-shotted that Starmie anyways. This Pokemon's really good to use after you get like Stealth Rocks up, because even if like they're Water type, for example, like let's take Blastoise for example. If you have Stealth Rocks up and they send out Blastoise and you're already at +4, Hydro Pump will one-shot their Blastoise, and that's amazing. Like, just think about that. That's absolutely massive. But, yeah, Surf's going to be able to KO, like, Zapdoses, you know, almost anything. Like, Alolan Mucks get one-shotted at +4. So many Pokemon get one-shotted at +4, and for the things that don't, you have Hydro Pump. And one of the reasons we also have Hydro Pump on here is, like, let's say you can only get +2, and you have to one-shot something like a Snorlax, well, that's why you have Hydro Pump. So, very, very good Pokemon. A lot of people kind of like to run Rockslide on this thing as well. I don't really recommend it, but great Pokemon nonetheless, and totally deserving of the second slot. But there's absolutely no doubt in my mind the best Rock-type Pokemon in the game. It has to be Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's like the best freaking Pokemon in the dang Pokedex. It's not an Uber. This Pokemon is absolutely ridiculous. Remember, the reason why Aerodactyl is amazing is, first of all, it can go Mega. It's the only Pokemon on the list that can go Mega. It has a base 130 speed stat, goes to base 150 in its Mega, and it's Jolly. So Jolly's gonna, again, raise your speed, lower your special attack. So 130 base speed, that's faster than, like, everything. That speed ties like Jolteon, it speed ties Mewtwo, but again, it's faster than things like Alakazam, it's faster than things like Starmie, it's faster than things like regular Gengar. So many things this Pokemon just outspeeds. Faster than partner Pikachu, it actually does matter because it forces them to Zippy Zack, which again won't KO you. So anyways, Aerodactyl's really, really good. You gotta be Jolly, and again, it's all about that Stealth Rocks. It is the fastest Stealth Rock user in the game. The whole meta is really revolved around this Pokemon, in my opinion. Like, if I have Aerodactyl in my team, you have to respect the fact that I can always get rocks up whenever I want. Whenever I want. Because, like, even if, like, let's say you have, like, a Gyarados, right? Or any water Pokemon. Like, yeah, like Gyarados, Starmie, Blastoise, Kingler, Poliwrath. I can still lead Aerodactyl, and I can still go for Stealth Rocks. And you can't stop that unless you have one of, like, 4 Pokemon. The only things that beat Aerodactyl are other Aerodactyls. Remember, like a Mega Aerodactyl Rockslide will actually one-shot a regular Aerodactyl, because, believe it or not, guys, Rock does not resist Rock. A lot of people think that, you know, like Fire resists Fire. Rock doesn't resist Rock. It's neutral, so Aerodactyl's technically weak against Rock. It's the only Pokemon on this list that's actually weak against this type, so it's kind of funny. But, yeah, so Aerodactyl's weak against Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's weak against, like, Electrodes. It speed ties with Jolteon. Mega Alakazam's slower, but again, Mega Alakazam's faster. But, like, you could always Mega to speed tie it, and also, like, it can't one-shot you, so you're in a great spot. This Pokemon, just screams, like, control. It has the fastest Rock Slide, so that's the most flinches. I personally like Earthquake on it because I know Alolan Mucks are such a problem. A lot of people like running Crunch here as well. I've also seen people use Wing Attack. It's a great Pokemon. Also, it's the fastest taunt in the game, other than things like Electrode. So, really good Pokemon. I highly recommend one if you do not use it. If you're just looking for a Pokemon to use and you have no clue what your team should have, and you don't have one of these, just throw one of these in here. It's amazing. It's going to win you so many games. So that actually is going to be the top 5.5 rock Pokemon, the top 6. You know, I feel that the Golems are actually common enough to where I can compare them both. Rhydon's just a little bit better than them. Kabutops is in a league of its own. It can do things no other Pokemon can do. Omastar is very similar to Cloyster, but Cloyster's not on the list. And Aerodactyl, again, another Pokemon that can do stuff that no other Pokemon can do. So I hope you guys like the list. I hope my list is very similar to yours. I feel sorry for Onyx, but again, Onyx is just that bad. We're now going to take a look at the TMs and see what TMs these Pokemon can learn, because I want to familiar you guys with the TMs. Some of you guys sleep on this part of the video. A lot of you guys, I know a lot of people leave. I can see a lot of people leave my analytics after the video. Be sure to let me know if you got to the very end of the video in the comments below. You know I want to know that stuff because I'm running a little survey here. But yeah, the reason I'm going to go over the TMs is so you guys can know what TMs these things learn, so you guys can watch out for it. I'm helping you guys out. It's not as much so you guys can be like, oh yeah, Omastar can learn Blizzard. I'm not going to use that, but, you know, it can do it. No, you guys have to know that you can get hit by an Omastar Blizzard, and that's why I'm talking to you about it. You guys have to know that almost every one of these Pokemon can break screens. Don't set up screens in front of these things if you don't want them to get broken, because every one of these things can learn Brick Break for the most part. I want you guys to know that stuff. I want to ingrain it in your brains. So, again, Brick Break. All the things that have arms, for the most part, can learn it. That's a good way to look at it. So Brick Break's pretty good. Again, I think Superpower's better on most of these Pokemon. So you can one-shot stuff like Snorlax, because all these Pokemon have like over base 100 attack. So just go with the Superpower in that point. But if screens are a really big problem for you, and if like Pokemon like Jolteon and Electro do rise in usage, and screens become really popular, which I do think is going to happen eventually, it wouldn't be that bad of an idea to tech one Brick Break user on each of these teams. And again, Pokemon like Rhydon, Golem, even Kabutops potentially have room to put Brick Break if needed, so definitely worth a shot. Calm Mind, not going to be learning anything here. Dark Pulse, I went to the bottom of the list. Dark Pulse, no one's learning that. Drill Run is really useful on Rhydon, only in doubles. If you're using Rhydon in doubles, remember Drill Run is an 80 base move. It can miss, it's 95 accuracy, but it has a high chance to crit, and it's a single target move. And you may be thinking, why does that matter? In doubles, Earthquake hits everyone, not just your opponents, but your partner too. And so if you have a flying type partner, that's great. But if you don't have a flying type partner and your team doesn't really have that many flying Pokemon in it, maybe you should use Drill Run. I recommend use of Drill Run in doubles on Rhydon unless your team is made specifically to spam Earthquake. So it's pretty good. And again, it has a high crit ratio, so it technically has like a higher percent chance to, like it has a percent chance to deal more than Earthquake. Because remember guys, crits do 1.5 the damage, so this thing goes up to a 120 and then gets stabbed on top of that. So it technically can do a 160 versus like the highest that Earthquake can do is 150. And remember, if it was in doubles, Earthquake has like, the damage is reduced because it's hitting an AoE slot. So, like, I really do think that this move's actually pretty good. So, Dragon Pulse, not going to be great, even though, like, a couple Pokemon can learn it, it's not that good. Dig, another ground-type attack. Everything can learn it except for Omastar and Aerodactyl. Not that great. I really don't recommend it. D-Gleam's not going to be on any of these guys. Almost everything learns everything that can learn EQ gets it. It's an amazing move, base 100 move. A lot of these Pokemon are ground-type as well, so I do highly recommend that. Also, Facade is somewhat decent if you plan on getting burned, especially on the Golems, because, you know, a lot of people use the Golems to, like, absorb Will-O-Wisps, absorb Toxics, because it doesn't really matter. You just want to use them for rocks and their other small viable usages. So remember, Facade is a 70 base power move. If you have like a stat infection like Paralyze or Toxic or Burn, it doubles it and like takes away that negative effect. So even if you're Will-O-Wisp, your attack stat's not going to be cut for the damage from Facade, so it's going to be a 170, so it's actually not that bad at all. Like, a lot of the things that would be using Will-O-Wisp on you, like, let's say, like, a Moltres Will-O-Wisp you just Facade it, and it just, like, absolutely get destroyed. It'd be hilarious. Fire Blast, not going to be great, but I've seen people use it on, like, Golems and Rhydons. I really don't recommend it. It's just really there for, like, cheeky plays. Like, you know, a lot of times, you know, like, let's say I have, like, you've caught me with my pants down. I have, like, an Electrode out, and you send out your Golem or your Rhydon, and I'm like, oh no, I need to switch. I switch to my Grass type, and you pop me with a Fire Blast. Like, it doesn't even really do enough damage to be, like, viable, but I have seen it. I'd really recommend Fire Punch for these Pokemon in that situation, because, again, Fire Punch is a physical move. These are all physical Pokemon, and if you really want to do Fire Punch, you know, it's definitely an option. But you know, like Flamethrower, Fire Blast are always hilarious. Flash Cannon, no one's learning that. Fly, Aerodactyl can learn it. I really would just recommend Wing Attack. You know, Fly has a 90 base power, but it takes 2 turns, and Wing Attack's a 60. Wing Attack Aerodactyl's not that bad, especially if you want to go Mega. It makes it so they can't bring in Pokemon like Venusaurs and other Grass types and other Bug types. Well, bugs aren't really a problem, but mostly the grass types, you can totally just destroy Venusaurs, which at the very start of the meta were actually like a really big problem for Aerodactyl. A lot of the times what would happen is like, you know, I've been known to see the Aerodactyls, and if I don't have something that can actively fight it, like an Electrode or something, I'll leave Venusaur against it. And so what's he going to do? Rockslide for 30%? What could just happen is he goes, you know, he goes for his Stealth Rocks, and I Sleep Powder him, and then I set up my sub, I set up my Leech Seed, and I just take him to town with Mega Drains. And you can actually trade out an Aerodactyl with Mega Drains if all he's using is Rock Slide. So, but if they have Wing Attack, remember they stab that Wing Attack, and they do a lot more damage to you. You'd be surprised how much you take. Also helps you against Pokemon like Poliwrath, who's becoming a major pain for things like Aerodactyl right now, because remember, Poliwrath is a water fighting. It's going to be able to resist your Rock Slide, and Earthquake just kind of tickles it. But if it switches in on Wing Attack, I'm pretty sure after Rocks it's a 2-shot. So Wing Attack on Aerodactyl is actually not that bad. I know it's not TM, but I wanted to talk about it. Foul Play, none of these guys learn it. Ice Punch, for some reason Rhydon can learn it. That's actually kind of cool. Let's think about what you would Ice Punch. The only thing that really comes to mind is like Dragonite. The other things that you would be able to want to hit with it, like a Zapdos, for example, that's weak to rocks. So like weak to Stealth Rocks and Rock Slide, you can just Rock Slide those. I guess you can hit grass types with it, but again, at that point, like I don't really think it's that viable because 90% of them are going to outspeed you anyways. You'd have to read them, and I'd rather not even waste a move slot on this. Like I'd rather just have the Mega Horn that I already have that lets me hit Psychics for 1-hit KO range. So, but it is an option. Freezes are pretty good. Payday, I mean, it's funny that Rhydon can learn it. Outrage, Rhydon can also learn it. Again, I don't recommend it. Very similar spot to Ice Punch. It doesn't really hit enough things, you know, versus, like, you could hit Charizard X, but, I mean, you could just Earthquake that one, so it doesn't really matter. Kabutops can learn Mega Drain. There you go. It also, like, learns Absorb in, like, its Kabuto form, so it's kind of funny that it learns Mega Drain, but, yeah, that's Mega Drain. Again, it has really abysmal special attack. I do not recommend it. Leech Life so much better. No one's learning White Screen. Let's look about Reflect. Most of these guys can learn Reflect. All the false Pokemon can learn Reflect. Now, I don't... Man, I kind of want to use a Reflect Aerodactyl. That sounds pretty lit. Think about it. Think about just, like, what if I took off Earthquake for Reflect, and, like, I could lead versus, like, Poliwrath and be like, pop a Reflect, and just be fine and just switch out to something that, and just start setting up, like, switch out to, like, an Alakazam and just get, like, 3 Calm Minds and just win the game? Like, that sounds super good. Why don't people use this? Reflect Aerodactyl is about to be new meta, guys. Psychic, no one's learning it. Protects, all these guys learn it. It's great in doubles. Use Protect in doubles, guys. Play Rough, no one's learning it. Rest. I've used Rest on the Golems before because I do not like getting burned. I do not like getting Toxic stalled. It's decent. I don't really recommend it. Rock Slide, almost everything that can learn it learns it. And I even talked about potentially using it on Omastar in its actual part of the video. So Rock Slide's really good, guys. It's really good. Flinches win games. I've used Roost Aerodactyl over the Earthquake variant, but I'm not really that big of a fan of it. The reason why I use Roost in certain situations is because a lot of Pokemon can't really do a ton of damage to Aerodactyl because it has such unique typing, and they really need super effective moves to deal over like 50%. So in a lot of situations, a lot of like walls can't do that much, so you can just Roost those things out. And like also if you have like screens or Thunder Waves up, you can like fish for paras and stuff like that. So Roost is kind of useful in those situations. But remember, if you Roost, it takes away your flying typing for the turn. So you lose your flying typing. So like if Aerodactyl uses Roost, it takes super effective damage from Earthquake. Just gotta watch out for that. It's pretty funny when it happens. Scald, obviously there's 2 water types in the team. I think Omastar is much better with Surf. Just because like I said, if you get +4, you can KO a lot of Pokemon with Surf that you wouldn't KO with Scald. So I do recommend Surf in that situation. But Scald's always good. But again, Omastar is trying to KO things, not burn them, and wall them out. Sludge Bomb, no one's learning that. Shadow Ball, thank goodness no one learns that move. Self-Destruct, yeah, the Golems can learn Self-Destruct. I've talked about using Golems with Self-Destruct. I'm going to make a team with Self-Destruct later, and I actually have like a really cool team plan for Self-Destruct, and I'm using one of the Golem forms with Self-Destruct, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to show you guys some cool Self-Destruct memes and the best way to use it to its fullest potential, but it's definitely a niche move because it KOs you too, and it's only 200 base power, so it's not even like it's super worth it. Like, an Earthquake is a 150 base power. Like, just think about it. It's 100, stabbed, and then goes to 150. So this move isn't even that much stronger than Earthquake, and it KOs you to do it. So it's a little bit weird. Psychic Toss isn't that great against a lot of these guys. No one's learning the Solar Beam. Almost everyone has a Stealth Rock. Kabutops and Omastar are exceptions because they obviously get better moves to set up with. Like, they get Swords Dance and Shell Smash, which is like probably one of the couple moves in my opinion that I would actually rank higher than Stealth Rocks. Like, I'd probably say like Shell Smash, Swords Dance, Stealth Rock, Nasty Plot, Calm Mind, Agility, you know, stuff like that. Stealth Rocks is really, really good, but, you know, you can only stack it once. You can get multiples of the other ones, which is why they're really good. Substitute's really good. I've used Substitute on Aerodactyl. I've used Substitute on Omastar. I've used Substitute on Rhydon. One of my favorite moves in the game, creates a 25% little sub in front of you that blocks all status moves. You know, you can't get Toxic or Will-O-Wisp or Thunder Waved. You're just really, really good. And if they switch when you substitute, you pretty much get like a second copy of your full health pool, because they're gonna have to spend 2 or 3 turns breaking that sub, and the whole time you're just slamming attacks into them right in their face. So it's pretty good. Superpower also really, really amazing. Kabutops can learn it too. I've seen people use Superpower on Kabutops instead of Leech Life. I personally think Leech Life's a little bit better, and it's just pretty good. It's really, really good. I really, like I said, recommend it on the Golem forums for hitting Snorlaxes and Golem Persians. Great job at OHKOing those Pokemon after rocks. So let's see, Thunderbolt. The Golem gets it to the stab, and so does Rhydon, but again, it's not that great. No one's on Teleport, not today. The only one that can learn Taunt learns it, which is really good. I already have Surf on the Omastar, but note that Rhydon can get it. I recently played against another Rhydon that used Surf against my Rhydon, and it did like over half. But it's really funny, he could have just Earthquaked me for more damage. So, again, even though you can get access to this move, even though it's 4 times super effective, you don't stab it, and your special attack is so abysmal that it's just not worth it. But it is funny. So Toxic, I've talked about using Toxic on both the Golems before, because like I said, they have that 1 extra slot. And if you know they're going to switch in with something that you can't really hit that well at all, sometimes it's not a bad idea to go for Toxic and just play like really defensive through switching and mitigating, stuff like that for the next few turns. It's pretty good. U-Turn, no one's learning U-Turn, but U-Turn is really, really good, just not on any of these Pokemon. It'd be awesome if Aerodactyl or Kabutops got U-Turn. No one's learning Will-O-Wisp either. Kabutops can learn X-Scissor, it's another 80 base power bug move, but why would you ever use X-Scissor if Leech Life is an option? Leech Life is exactly the same as this move, but Leech Life restores half the damage you deal as HP. Leech Life is so much better. Waterfall, Kabutops Cornet, I highly recommend it on Kabutops, but I think Aqua Jet is just a little bit better because it is a priority move. Note the Waterfall can flinch though, so 20% chance to flinch, don't knock it till you try it. Omastar can get it too. Again, I don't really recommend it because you're a special attacker. A Alolan Golem can get Thunder Wave. Bruh. Put that on there. I'm just gonna put this on there. What am I doing? What we got? Yo, Earthquake can take an L. I'm putting Thunder Wave on this guy. Thunder Wave's one of the best moves in the game. You learn something new every day. Obviously, I knew it got Thunder Wave. I just wasn't paying attention. I'm pretty sure I've used Thunder Wave on this thing before, but yeah, Thunder Wave's amazing. There we go. Bam. Thunder Wave. Got it. Easy. Thunder, not going to put on any of these guys. Note that, again, Rhydon gets Mega Horn, and I think that puts it just a little bit above the other Golem forms, because it's so good against Psychic types. It's so good. Like, a lot of them feel safe. They're like, I know the Calc. I know I can eat an Earthquake. And they can't eat a Mega Horn. Mega Horn's super effective. Goes up to 240 base power. KOs Mewtwo after Stealth Rocks. KOs things like Alakazam every single time. And it's super, super good. Bulk Up. No one's can learn that. That's why I didn't talk about it. Poison Jab. Rhydon can learn it. You don't really need it. Orange Elemental Punches. And again, even if it was like a super effective Poison Jab, let's talk about it. Something like Rockslide or like a Stabbed Earthquake could be like strong, almost as strong. Like, let's talk about Poison Jab versus like a Fable. It goes up to like 160 because it's an 80 base, so it doubles into 160 versus an Earthquake just becomes stabbed to 150. It's not worth the slot at all. No one's on a Dream Eater, and Iron Tail. Now, I've talked about Iron Tail on Aerodactyl. Only Aerodactyl as just like a meme play to be able to fight other Aerodactyls without Mega Evolving, but unfortunately it doesn't one-hit KO, so it's not even worth it. But it is kind of funny because remember, Iron Tail, 100 base power, and it can also lower their defense stat. So like if you really, like in certain situations, I can see this being usable. If you know they're going to switch, you go for the Iron Tail, which is, again, a very strong move. They switch into something like an Alolan Muck, or they switch into something like a Snorlax. You can then KO them most of the time with a Rockslide if you get the 20% chance to drop their defense. I do not recommend this, but we're going to be showing some videos on the channel of me using Iron Tail and getting some pretty clutch KOs with it. Not on Aerodactyl, but on some other Pokemon. So, yeah, that was my list, guys. I just want to know, what did you guys think about my list? What do you guys think about my top 5.5 rock Pokemon for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee? I want to know if you guys think there's anything I forgot. Please, please, please let me know if you stayed till the end of the video. Let me know if I forgot anything. Let me know if you liked the video, and let me know what type you want to see me work on next time in the comments below. And like I said, I will see you guys next time in a couple days with another top 5 video. Peace out, guys. Thanks for watching.